So what do we got? You must have a final coming up in a few weeks, huh?
I do, but right now we're just doing, we have like one more unit.
Okay.
And right now it's just like, what were we working on? We were working on law of sines and then like just finding angles and side lengths. And I finished my homework in class, so I was wondering if we could do ACT practice today.
Sure.
Or SAT. Or whatever.
Let's see, I gotta find it. Huh? ACT or SAT?
ACT. That's what I take first.
Wow, what did I do with your file? Oh, I think we are in this section here, yeah. No, I don't see your name in there either. When are you taking the ACT?
This March.
Okay. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can find a file that represents how far we've gotten. What did I do with it? Why did it? Oh, we did a little bit of SAT. I think that's what's going on. Yeah, we did. We did hardest, didn't we? No? You know what? I have a pretty good ACT one. I know which one to do. This one might be a little harder than normal, but that's not going to hurt you.
Nope.
I used this one to work with a kid who's practicing for the ACT, and his teacher gave him this one. And so we do this one. And this one's got some pretty tough stuff on it, but I think it's ACT stuff. I don't think there's anything on here that's not ACT. So, all right. How about number 1?
Okay, so plus 9 would be 38.
Number 2. Let's go down. Let's go by order of numbers. I can increase this a little bit. There you go. Yeah.
College. So 6 hours divided by 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So 72 minutes would be 1 hour and 12 minutes?
Correct. Number 3. They don't look hard yet, but trust me, they get hard. In fact, I wouldn't, if I wanted to start where they start hard, I'm not sure where I would start. So we'll just go through all of them. We'll build your morale with the easy ones here.
Okay. So minus 20, and then you'd have...
So what's the next number that has exactly 3 factors?
Exactly what?
3 factors.
Oh, okay. 16.
No, just count from 4 up. In other words, 4 has 3 factors. Let's try 5. How many does 5 have?
I didn't read that question.
5 has 2 factors.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's count up until we find one that has exactly 3.
Okay, so 6 has 4. Right?
Uh-huh.
And then 7 would have 2.
Okay.
8 would have... What is it? 4
Okay.
again. 9 would have 3.
Okay. So 9 is the number. What's the sum of the 3 factors?
13.
Okay. Do you know Adobe? You know how to get rid of this
like
thing on the right? How do I...
No.
I've been looking everywhere to try to figure out how to do it, and I cannot... I have to live with that, I guess. All right, we'll do it this way.
Okay. His average monthly pay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you have to do, so 3,200 times 10 plus 2,000 times 2, and then add that and then divide it by 12, so 3,000.
What's the best way to do 6?
When you multiply number by 4 and subtract 7. Oh. I don't really know.
Well, let's say your life depended on it. Somebody came to you and said, I will kill you if you can't figure this out. What would you do?
Substitute the answer there?
Yeah. Right? Don't forget that option. That is a key option in these tests. Because this is very hard to solve algebraically. I mean, I could probably structure it, but it's definitely solvable by back solving. We know that we will find the number if we back solve. So it's not clear whether we're going to know which direction to go, but I would still start with the second low or the second high. Does 13 work?
Why the second low or the second high?
Well, you want to use the second low and the second high if you are going to know which way to go. I can explain it better if we do it on this one.
Okay.
So if 13 is the number, what has to be true?
It has to be divisible by,
Go through the first sentence, exact word for word.
So you multiply it by 4 and then subtract 7.
What do you get? That is 52 minus 7, that's 45. Has to be the same as if you first subtract 7 and multiply it by 11.
So it's not.
Well, that's 66. Now, the question is, do we need a smaller or a bigger number? Can you tell? Can't really.
No.
I mean, you wouldn't want to stake your life on it, right?
No.
You wouldn't want to say, well, we need a smaller number, therefore the answer is 10, and I'll go on to the next one. If your life was depending on it, you'd keep finding that number. Well, it looks like, because my first result was 45 and the second result was 66, maybe I need a littler number. No, I do need a bigger number.
Wait.
Let's try 10. The math is very easy on 10. And we'll see whether that's the right answer or not. If it's the wrong answer, then I know I need a bigger number for sure.
Oh, okay.
So
I think 10 works.
10 times 4 minus 7 is 33. 10 minus 7 is 3 times 11 is 33. So 10 works. And we're 100% sure, you could bet your life that 10 was the right answer and you'd be safe. But this does give you a picture as to you're not always sure which way to go. There are a number of ACT questions where you will know for sure whether you need a bigger or a smaller number. Problems like marble problems, age problems, anything like that. You're going to know when you try and answer whether it's too little or too big. And if that is the case, then it always pays to try the second low and then the second high. That will minimize the number of back solves that you have to do. In other words, let's say we tried 13 and we knew the answer had to be lower. Well, I'm done. I've got it in one attempt. It's 10. Let's say we tried 13 and we got an answer that it was clear we were going to need a bigger number. Next, I'm doing 23. 23 will tell me the answer. Either it will be right, or I'll know I need a smaller answer, which means 19 is the answer, or I know I need a bigger number, which means 31 is the answer. So by focusing on the second smallest and second biggest is the most efficient way to back solve if you know nothing else. In other words, if they say what is the smallest possible answer, well then we're going to start with all the small answers and work our way up. So there's various ways that these problems can be phrased, these questions, that will tell you where to start on your back solve. Typically, you want to start with B or D. And I have seen books that say you want to start with C, but they're wrong. You do not want to start with C. You either want to start with B or D, or if it's a different kind of problem that says, you know, what's the minimum number that works, then you start with the smallest and work your way up. If it says, what's the biggest number that works, you start with the biggest and you work your way down. But always remember the back solving, because back solving is a way to get the answer 100% of the time without having to do any algebra.
Okay. Good to remember.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about if I remember to do that on the last PSAT I took, and I hope I
Well, I tell you one good way to remember it is to think about it the way I phrased it, if your life depended on it. When you put terms like that with something, it locks it in your memory better. And I don't quite know how to describe that, but I have taken memory. I've studied memory. I used to play a lot of gin rummy, and it was very vital that you be able to memorize every card played. And so I found techniques for memorizing, and the most common one that is taught is associating what you want to memorize with some crazy, ridiculous picture, graphical image. So maybe I would make the Queen of Hearts be the Alice in Wonderland Queen of Hearts. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I saw the Queen of Hearts, I pictured the big queen from Alice in Wonderland. And that's the way I went about memorizing all the cards. Well, when you're trying to remember, oh boy, make sure you back solve. Make sure you try back solving if you don't know how to solve a problem. Well, attach the phrase, if your life depended on it. That should help.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, what's 7?
Okay. So it has to be including 5. Including -5 and up to 5. So B?
Yeah.
Okay. Took me a while to see the little lines. I got my eyes dilated today, so it's like...
Oh.
looking at. Okay.
You must wear contacts.
So.
You wear contacts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, is it only people that wear contacts that they dilate your eyes when you're having an eye exam?
I don't know, but I think if you wear
I always wore
contacts.
contacts, and I've always had my eyes dilated, so.
I don't know. That's actually a good question.
Yeah. All right, so these two triangles are similar. What is y in terms of x?
Y would be 2 and x plus 3.
Well, it's just complicated enough that I need to write equations. So let's write some ratios. Give me a ratio. Because the triangles are similar, there's all kinds of ratios.
Yeah, so we can do 3 over 6 and x over y.
Okay. So what is y in terms of x?
You cross multiply, don't you? Or multiply across? Yeah, 3y. X, and then divided by 3.
That answer isn't on there. So we
No.
can't solve it that way. It is true that y is equal to 2x. But because that answer isn't on there, we have to go about solving this a little different way. Let's do another ratio. What's another ratio?
You could do 2 over x and x over y.
Okay. That has more promise, I think. Now if we solve for y, we get 2y equal x squared. Y equal x squared divided by 2. That answer isn't on there.
No, that made it almost worse. Okay.
All of these equations are right, but there clearly must be one that's slightly different.
So you could do... no.
What's the measurement of x?
What's the measurement of x? Something 2. X times...
What's the similarity ratio with these two triangles?
Double.
So what's the measurement of x?
2x? Oh.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now this is a 2, 3, 4 triangle, and this is a 4, 6 something triangle. So let's see if that helps. Y is to 4. We don't want to solve for x because we want all of our answer. Hold on a moment. Yeah, this should work. Y has to be what?
I'm confused. That's what we're doing. Y has to be x plus...
This x
No. How do
here,
you...
this x here is the same as this x here. So we just solve for 4.
Oh, so
That
y
makes
is
this 4. What is y?
8. So then you'd have to do x plus 4.
There you go. That's the way to do it. In other words, any of the standard ways don't produce an answer that's on there. So you actually do have to solve for x and y in order to figure out which answer fits. That's a little tricky one. Not really. If you go ahead and just solve for x and y, you get it real quick. But I spent 2 minutes doing all those ratios, and none of them produced the proper answer for me. So I'm not sure what that means, but
Okay.
just tells you there's more than one way to skin that cat.
Okay. Following is equal to... n is equal to 11. Oh, that's a difficult question. Wait. I don't understand exactly what it wants you to do here. Does it want you to substitute in 11?
One of these expressions is equal to n minus 3 squared when n is 11.
Oh, no, I get it.
So what is n minus 3 squared?
64.
So which of these answers is equal to 64 when I substitute 11 for n?
So you'd have, what would it be? Like 17 times 5. That doesn't work. And then you'd have 16 times, okay. Oh, so B would work.
B works, and as soon as you find it, you're done. You don't want to test any of the others. And there's no real rhyme or reason for which one to start with here. I just go from A to E and hope I don't have to do all 5 of them. Now, I suppose another way to do this would be, well, no, not really. In other words, I can't really expand that. I mean, I can. But this quadratic is not necessarily what you're going to get when you do B. Notice that if I multiply B out, I get n squared minus 2n minus 35. I don't get the same quadratic at all. It only is equal when n is precisely 11. So you can't really solve this any other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words, if they said which of the following is equal to that, well then I'd have to do it the other way. But when they say if n is equal to 11, it means that's only the time it's going to be equal. Hold on one second. I'm in the middle of the session. I've got to call you back. John? Okay. Don't know what that was about. Okay, let's see. 10.
Okay. So, square field. Oh my goodness.
What's the first thing we really want to know before we figure out what that diagonal is?
The length and the width?
It's a square.
Yeah. So, 150?
Now what kind of triangle is that?
That is a right triangle.
It's a 45-45 right triangle.
Oh yeah, it is. Cool. And then it goes 45.
What's the diagonal going to be?
Oh, isn't it, x root 3?
In other words, if you remember your 45-45, the unit one, it's 1 square root of 2, right? Well,
yeah.
This is similar. The similarity ratio is 150 to 1. So it's 150 times square root of 2, which is j. Okay?
Right?
It's the slope of that line.
slope is change in y over change in x, right?
Right. Rise over run.
Well, yeah, so it would be 3 to negative 3 is 6, right?
Okay.
Negative 6, I guess.
As long as you go the same direction, it doesn't matter. Just don't reverse directions.
Okay, so negative 6, and then over negative 3.
You reverse directions.
I did?
Uh-huh.
Dang,
You
okay.
went minus 3, which is this minus 3 minus that 3. That's how you got minus 6. So you got to go 4 minus 1. So it's minus 6 over 3 or minus 2. Now you could have gone 3, start there. 3 minus a minus 3 gives you plus 6 divided by 1 minus 4, which is minus 3. So you get minus 2 regardless of which direction you go. Always. You get the right slope. Just don't switch directions. If you switch directions, you'll get the negative of the slope you intend to get. In other words, if you switch directions, you'll get positive 2.
Yeah.
All right, let's try one more.
So, wait, 13, right?
12.
12? Oh, sorry. I thought it was an area problem. I thought it was one already there. Andrew wants to fill in 2 sections of the vacuum sod. No, she okay. So, wouldn't you just do 30 times 4?
Yeah, there's an easy way and a hard way to do this problem. Let's do it the easy way.
So,
What's the total square footage of sod needed?
oh gosh, no. Sorry, my calculator's freaking out. Okay.
You don't need a calculator.
Really?
Well,
Oh, no,
3
you don't.
times 4 is 1,200. 6 times 8 is 4,800.
Yeah.
So that's the total number of square feet that we need. How many pieces of sod is that?
That is, we divide it by 4, right?
Right.
It would be 1,500.
And that's the easy way to do it. The hard way would have been to draw out a plot that was 30 by 40, and then imagine that you have a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2, so you'd have 15 columns and 20 rows. So you'd do it that way, and then you'd have to do it for the other piece also. So it's much harder to break it down and micro-analyze it, so to speak, than it is to just figure out the total square footage. But it's important that you know the square footage of the sod is 4, not 2. In other words, the square foot of each piece of sod is 4 square feet. All right. I will make a note that we got through number 12 on this, and that way I won't forget. Okay? All right, you have a good week, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday night.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.